Hi family, welcome once again to another exciting, amazing episode of Forever Together with the Ekimas.
Ekima Emmanuel is my name.
I'm Daphne Ekima.
Together we are the Ekimas.
Yeah, so today we discuss something very, very, very important. So we've been married for 3 years, as you know. This is our 4th year. And today we discuss surviving the first years of marriage.
Yes.
Yeah, so most marriages do not live to see the 3rd year or even the 1st year. And today we go through what has worked for us, and we hope that, you can pick 1 or 2 things from a video.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So can we dive into it?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
Christ in the center. Welcome to forever. This is our perfect synchrony, like leather and feathers. No matter the weather, we can storm the umbrellas. Take a stroll in my heart. Let's take this further when I'm beside you, baby. See my stakes get better. Let me bet it all. Destiny vendettas. Rosy the emotional description of this love. I am yours, you are mine. The only thing that matters now. We are the Ekimas.
Yes, so we are going to be discussing the different things that have worked for us. And the first thing is...
marriage is a ministry.
Marriage is ministry. So it's important to know that the marriage you're getting into or that you're in is a ministry. You are not going there to serve yourself. You're not going there to be served, but you're going there to serve your spouse. If we had known this at the beginning of our marriage, I think most of the issues we went through would be much easier, because one of the reasons that people butt heads when they've just gotten married is the fact that everyone is looking out for their interests.
Absolutely.
The wife or the husband is saying, this person is not meeting my needs, ABCD, this person is not doing ABCD for me. It's about me. How am I happy? Am I, So you find that you're butting heads, and that's because of the selfishness. But if you go in the marriage, with the idea that marriage is about serving the other person, then you are less likely going to butt heads. You're less likely to be selfish, but you always be looking forward to serving your spouse. This, the whole principle of marriage being a ministry really is from the fact that the Bible, if you look through the whole Bible, the only relationship that the Bible describes or equates to the relationship between Christ and the church is the ministry of marriage. Not even parenting. So when at the end of the day, when you stand before God, He will hold you accountable at how well you stewarded or you carried out your ministry, your marriage ministry, as Christ loved the church. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And that is how we should look at our spouses. You should go in there knowing that I am going to serve my spouse regardless of how they behave, regardless of... Christ did not love us because we loved Him.
He loved us
regardless. In fact, we did not love Him. We persecuted Him, but yet He still loved. I know that is quite, an uncomfortable truth for many to take in, but to break your bubble, to burst your bubble rather, marriage is not for us to be served, it's for us to serve as spouse. So once you get to know that, I think half the problems will be solved. So for us, when we go to a point where we understood that, honestly, it's a work in progress, every day we have to remind ourselves that, how am I serving my spouse? How am I serving Christ through serving my spouse? Because the marriage relationship should reflect God. It was established by God, and it should also mirror the relationship with Christ. So
absolutely,
in the way I'm treating my husband, in the way my husband is treating me, how does that reflect God's relationship with us?
Absolutely.
So
another point is to be open and transparent.
Yes, openness. Marriage is all about openness and transparency.
When you talk about openness, it not only just goes, it starts from the time when you're dating, in times when you're in a relationship. Once you start that cultivating their openness from there, then you will thrive in your marriage. It has worked for us, me and my wife, whereby we have been open to each other. Since the time we were dating, we were very open to each other. We shared. various things. She knows my password of my phone. I know her password of her phone.
Yeah. I know your whereabouts, who you're meeting,
yes,
you know.
even in case I'm going somewhere, I will inform her that I'm going here. I intend to meet here. And she's updated no matter what happens.
Yeah.
She's aware. You know, most of us say, why do you want to know where I'm going?
Yeah.
As if, but when you're married, two
That
become one.
goes,
That must go away. And once you create that openness, then you leave no room for sin.
Yeah.
And you will see that sin normally thrives in secrecy and
that's
darkness.
true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where once the moment you're not open,
Yeah.
sin comes in. I remember the time I think we were dating. Yeah, we were dating, me and my wife, and I kept on talking to my exes and just casual talking. Hello, how are you? Maybe in case of something, and I talked to my wife because of course my wife had my passwords, access to my phone. So we had a discussion about it. Of course, she was aware.
And I also knew your whereabouts. So if it was, I'm going to meet so and so, whether it's for work, whether it's for, we always talked about it.
Yeah,
He
sure.
was like, I'm going to meet so and so. I knew his history. I knew who his exes were. He knows who my exes are. Yeah.
So, but at that point, you don't realize unless the other party is there to call out the other one, to tell you that you find that you're talking to your ex, you think it's okay, but one thing leads to another, and that's how sin comes in. Once you create a gap, you give Satan a chance, it creates a room for Satan to come in, and the next thing you are trying to hide something from.
I don't even think it's Satan who comes in really.
Okay, it's sin.
It's you. People, because sin thrives in secrecy, like you rightly said, and Satan is not the one that makes us do things.
Yeah.
We create an environment for them to happen, and eventually we'll say, the devil. No.
Yes,
you created an environment for it. So when you're open and you're transparent, if I know, I'm going to meet person A and B, and by the way, in that season when we're dating and you were in touch with your exes, so for me as well, before I met Christ and I had this whole renewed mindset about relationships, I always thought it was okay to talk to your exes casually, and we're not saying you can't have a relationship that is not anything else with an ex. What we're saying is that you might be breeding ground for something to happen, and at that time I trusted you. I knew it was not anything really. You were not trying to create any relationship. But the question we ask is it really wise? Is it wise? Should you be having those conversations?
Yes, because at the end of it all, you and your partner should have the same friends. It's important almost to have. I don't need to have a friend who's a lady
who is not my friend.
Not my wife's friend. I think that's where
the issues some darkness and secrecy. If you feel that you have this friend who you either one, you feel you're not comfortable letting your wife or your husband know about, or if I have to meet this friend maybe after work for tea and I feel like I don't have to tell my wife why do you feel that you cannot tell your spouse
that
about
feeling
this?
Alone
should indicate something, however innocent, because one thing is you can tell yourself, it's just, but when that relationship is really not.
And sin, it happens in bits, and by the time you remember, you're already drowning in sin, and it's too late, and you're like, wow, I wish I knew, I wish I had stopped at this point, I wish. So openness helps at least. Once you open, your spouse is aware where you are, what you're doing, whom you're meeting. It opens up everything. You're open with not only relationship, finances, everything. Just
you should be open.
Just keep open with your partner.
Because when you don't open up, lack of transparency and openness, what it does is it creates mistrust.
Absolutely.
And once mistrust is in the picture, that's why you find many people, I don't trust you, or someone is keeping tabs on you, or you're snooping in your husband's phone or wife's phone,
because of mistrust.
So to stop that from even happening or creating ideas in your spouse's mind, be transparent from the word go. Be transparent. So
and it continues. It's not a one-off. transparency continues. Even it's one of the pillars in the relationship. The moment you continue being transparent in your relationship, then nobody will come in between. Imagine somebody comes in trying to blackmail or say something.
Yeah,
your spouse is
already
aware.
knows.
Yeah, your spouse is aware.
Yeah.
So I think
and also maybe to also add on to that, openness and transparency is the angle of so it has many faces to it, but also the part of emotional intimacy. I should be naked and ashamed before my spouse, not just physically but also emotionally. I should be able to come and speak to you and tell you, I am going through ABCD. You should be able to tell me I am going through ABCD.
Yes.
I am having these challenges. You should not create a room where your spouse cannot come and talk to you when they're struggling.
Yeah.
They should feel that you are there, you have their back, but also create an environment. And you create that environment by not being judgmental, not being, just defensive. Create that safe space where your spouse can easily confide in you. Yeah, sure. Then you cut off issues like, I can't speak to my wife about this, I can't speak to my husband, therefore I need to find my best friend to talk to, therefore I need, your spouse should be your best friend. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that is one of the tips that has helped us.
Yes. Survive that first year in marriage.
The first years.
Another issue is to be accountable.
Yes, this one I think ties into
it's
transparency.
More transparency, yes. And we are talking about being accountable to your spouse, as we have already talked about, and be accountable to the community. So being accountable to the community, you find that create space. For us, for example, we have sales, super sale,
fellowship.
Fellowship.
Hi guys, hi super sale guys.
So it's a place where we go to, we discuss marriages in case we're having challenges. They encourage us, we are rebuked from there. So we are accountable to. You have people to work with. We have people to work with. So it's very important for a marriage. You can't do marriage alone. You can't do marriage alone. It's not one thing that you can do marriage alone. But when you have that community, it helps you move. In case you are backsliding, you will come back into line and know that, yes, this is our purpose. Someone to call you out when, what you're doing is not... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not in line. Or in another scenario, have a role model. That couple that you look up to. Yeah. Mainly spiritual and big, mature people, I presume. It's much better. You have them and... you talk to them, you want to learn from them, you want to be like them, because that's where it starts from. You want to be like them, you want to improve. So that will help in your relationship. And every now and again, ask for an appointment with them, meet with them. If you have a question, ask them. And you have to be selective in what people you're accountable to. Not everyone, honestly. Not everyone. You have to find people whose value system aligns with you, people who are on the same journey with you. People who have who believe in the idea of marriage, because there's also going to confide in people and the person is telling you, what the marriage, God, you and your marriage problems again. Like, no, find people who are wiser than you, who are, like you said, baby, who are more mature than you, and will rebuke you, will challenge you. They'll tell you, at point ABCD, we're going through the same thing, this is how we pulled through, So that most marriages we feel, from our perspective, struggle because couples want to die alone, You say, oh my God, how do I come out to say ABCD? How do I? But people have gone through these things. Yes. And then also the other context is accountability to your spouse. I think we already mentioned that in transparency. He should be able to know why you are. Don't say, don't ask me, why are you asking me where I'm going? I think the men struggle with that a lot. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so be open. In terms of finances. Allow your spouse to be accountable to you. I should be knowing who your friends are, how much you earn. Yes, that's true. How much, if your spouse does not know how much you earn, then you need to ask the question, why don't I trust them enough to know? Yes, to know, yes. What is the reason why? Why am I hiding? Yeah. And once you create that gap, that there's suspicion, there's mistrust, then the devil comes in. That's when the devil comes in. Yeah. Not the devil per se, but in regards to another person really coming in and entering into your relationship that, why do you think you don't know about this? Why do you think you don't know about this? So don't give room
And I think we made a decision from the start
From the start, yeah.
that no one should know more about me than my spouse.
Absolutely.
If anyone out there knows anything about me, my spouse already probably knows it. We made that decision, and if anyone out there knows anything about me, in whatever regard, my spouse probably already knows about it.
Yes, and more. Yeah, even me, if anybody knows something, if anything is happening in my life, my wife must know.
Yeah.
In fact, she's the first person I'll call in case we have something, and I'll be like, okay, baby, I've gone through this and this. Oh, baby, I'm going to do this, so that she's aware.
Yeah.
That's the kind of accountability that we give
We have
each other.
created.
We have created amongst ourselves.
So the other point is, do not avoid conflict.
Conflict is good.
Conflict is good. Conflict is good. I know this sounds a bit controversial, but conflict is very good. Create an environment where your spouse can easily say, no, I don't agree.
And it's healthy.
It's very healthy for you to allow your spouse to disagree with you. So for us, I don't know if it's this is more maybe because we're also lawyers. So subconsciously, and we have allowed in our marriage room for each other to not, like, we don't have to be in the same page. We can agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
What you need to do though is to find how to disagree or conflict in a gracious way.
Yeah.
Have conflict, but while you're being graceful to your partner. And one of the ways you can do it is by knowing that, you know, your partner means well.
Yes.
Your partner means well. They're not out to hurt you. And separate your spouse from the disagreement that you're having. If we don't agree on say, what example can we give?
Like the house. Let me give an example of
you're constructing and we don't agree on how the house should, you know, on whether the bedroom should look this side or
even design.
The design.
Disagree on design.
Even the sensitive things, that may not be too sensitive, but even the sensitive things, it is okay to disagree, but separate your spouse from that disagreement, and always remember that my spouse, my husband means well. They love me regardless of this disagreement that we're having.
I think what's more important is to look at what your spouse is saying, and then if you do not agree, it's okay. It's very okay. Take time and don't take it offensively, and then you start maybe saying insulting each other.
Or maybe he doesn't love me because he does not. Disrespect.
Because of that. So I think for us it has worked because, as my wife has already said, we agree to disagree. Sometimes I'll say I don't agree with you. Sometimes she says I don't agree with you, and it's very okay. But the only thing that we say is that it's not good to disagree in public. Keep it private. Don't disagree in public. Don't be there and say, I disagree with my husband, what he has said.
You can wait when you're the two of you and...
Yes, and then you disagree. Once your husband maybe say, your spouse is communicating a position, and maybe you don't agree with that position. It's okay, you just sit it out. Let it pass. And then maybe when you get back in your car or at home, and then you say, I don't agree with that. I think that's a better way, and it's a more civil way. And once you embrace conflict and know that it's okay for one to have a different opinion from mine, then you thrive. The other thing I think is the idea of living and cleaving. Absolutely. Do you want to speak to that, baby? Yes. Now, when you talk about living, it all stems from the Bible, Genesis, where God said, man shall leave his father, mother,
be united
with the woman, and the two will become one. And that's where it comes from. You leave your father. So when you enter into marriage, once you're going into marriage, you're leaving your parents, you're leaving your friends. Why they equated parents is because we have that attachment to parents. But you leave your parents, you leave your friends, you leave your siblings. You forsake all to start a new life and a new family, independent life too in your family. And once you do that, it helps you. And for us in our marriage, we made a decision that once we get married, we are going to have our time.
The first year of marriage. Actually, we were advised by our marriage counselor, premarital marriage counselors, that we needed that first year alone. as a couple.
Yeah, and we
Getting
made
to
that
know each
decision.
other.
Yeah, and we made that decision, and we said no, we are going to be alone, get to know each other, learn and learn different things that we need to know about each other. And we think our in-laws, our family members, our siblings, they give us that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give us that space, and we got a chance to know each other, to learn more. And I got to know my wife firsthand,
Yeah.
not from another person coming in. And I believe she also
It was
got
the
to know,
same, yeah.
the same.
And I think maybe we should speak to why that is important.
Yeah.
Because so you know that the first years anyway,
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out your spouse. You actually don't know your spouse
Actually,
very
they
well.
know you.
You don't know them, yeah?
Yeah.
Most times you're butting heads, you're trying to figure out what you know, who are we, what is this? And we've had, you know, scenarios where you invite in an in-law or a relative and they're living with you, and because you don't know your spouse yet at that point,
Absolutely.
me as the relative, I form opinions of your
Yes,
spouse,
of your spouse,
and I
and
come
I
and tell
communicate to
you,
you.
you know, I think your spouse is ABCD. I think
ABCD.
your spouse is, and because you have not fully understood your spouse, your first reaction is, this might be true. This
yes.
might be true. And already you're butting heads. At
Yeah.
that time, you need to,
Safeguard yourselves.
yeah, you need to
from
figure out
everyone,
yourselves.
yeah.
Now, right now where we are, I don't think a
Nothing
relative or a friend or anyone can tell me something about my spouse and it shocks me if it's true anyway. And it's
Yeah.
able for me to, it's easy for me to say, no, that's not
That's
true.
not, yeah,
Because I know you. I know you. I have
yes.
had the time to learn you, to understand you. So those sensitive years, that's how we were advised, and we think the advice is good. Well, there are some settings that are different, some dynamics that are different. Maybe, you know, you have to, sometimes, I mean, there are cases where you can't do without in-laws. Maybe that's the only way, that's the only house they have, or those are special cases. But ideally,
It's
if
better.
you can allow yourselves that time to get
Yeah,
to know each other.
To get to know each other, yes.
Independent of
and
anyone
grow.
else.
Yes, and maybe to add on what baby you've just said, it's also important is that during that first year in marriage, you're all fragile.
Yeah.
You want to run back. You know, you're not safe. You're all trying to figure out each other.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you're like, wow, I left my family. We had everything. We had this. We had this. My father can solve this. I can talk to my father. I can talk to my sibling. We advise, and for us, I think it works. But we advise you that during that time, don't go reporting whatever is happening into your marriage, to your parents, to your siblings, to your aunties, to your relatives, because you will kiss and make up, but they will not forget.
They will not forgive, yeah.
They will not forgive.
My
So-
family can forgive. We can reconcile, but
yes,
my family will
your
not
family
forgive
cannot
him.
forgive.
Or the
Yes.
other way around.
Or the other way around,
Yeah.
yes. So you find that you're laying a bed to disagreements, to
hostility.
to divorce, because whoever is going to come in is not going to come in, let's say relative, is not going to come in a good, they will look at their own, they will try to protect their own. But when you give your time, yourselves time to grow, to understand each other, of course we're also saying a disclaimer, by the way, if you're in an abusive relationship, please,
It's
that
okay.
one, no.
What the context we are speaking,
Yeah.
this is not in the context of people who are in abusive relationships,
yes.
maybe domestic violence,
yeah.
or any form of abuse. No, we are not saying die, because
Die,
we
yeah,
already
in
mentioned
silence, yeah.
earlier that you need a community.
Yes, that's
So we are
true.
not here to say that don't allow abuse and then keep quiet. No, we are talking about if you're in an abusive relationship, you need to find someone to speak to.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are talking about these petty fights that happen. Yeah, you're not agreeing, or maybe very, very funny things that you can solve. You can solve without having to run to your dad or your mom,
Mom,
or And the other thing also is the issue, the issue of wanting to run back home. Yeah, you miss. I was speaking to someone who said that when they were married, when they just got married, man, for them they were like, weekends I have to go back home. I have to run back home. I have to, and we're not saying desert your family,
Yes,
guys.
yes.
No, but realize that you're living and cleaving
Yes.
to your partner. You're
your
trying to
partner.
create an independent, a new family, a new You know, generation, I remember on our wedding, my mom told me, Daphne, bye. You have gone, don't come back. And it sounded so harsh. But I mean, that is the truth.
Yeah.
We need to separate this new union that we have created from the old one. I can't go back to my parents telling them, oh, if we're struggling financially, then I go, oh, I'm telling my dad, please give us this, give us this, give us this. No, we're not saying die. And don't seek help, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah, try to create your independent unit as a family. Yeah, and
grow together.
Yeah, and grow. You eventually.
Those challenges that you go through actually strengthen your marriage. You get to love each other no matter which challenge you're going through. It is a learning lesson, and you look back and be like, wow, do you know we did this and this?
Yeah.
So it's a very important issue to look at. Another point we shall look at is premarital counseling.
Yeah, premarital counseling. So make sure you do premarital counseling. We can't stress this enough. In premarital counseling, that's where you're going to start all these conversations that we're having. You'll be able to know, how do we manage conflict? How do we handle finances? They will start conversations that you'd ordinarily not have had. For example, there are things during premarital counseling they were told to us, but I mean, they seemed like they were just this noisy jazz. They're like, oh wow, first we're okay, we know we're in love, we just can't wait to get married. Those guys were telling us, man, conflict is going to come. How do you handle conflict? How do you struggle with finances? What? And we were just, we couldn't. But now we look back to those notes that were shared with us during premarital counseling.
And maybe if I can come in, I remember during that time, we actually didn't want to do premarital counseling.
Yeah.
I remember it was a friend, my wife's friend, Elon. Shout out to Elon.
Who is now family.
Who is a family friend now. And so Elon advised my wife that we should indeed have counseling, and then
we were so busy, I remember, and honestly we're just like, what is that they want to tell us?
What is that they will tell us that we don't already know? But trust me, we went there. He even recommended the counselor, and then we met. It was so helpful. We got to know love language, you know. Those are things
we understood so many things that made, I think, the start easy. So many people say that the first year of marriage will be hard, but I believe it doesn't have to be hard if you prepare. And that's the advantage of, you know, getting to learn from other people, learn from their mistakes, so that you don't have to repeat those same mistakes that they made. The other point, and the final one, but not least, is accept your differences. Accept and respect your differences. Yes. Don't try to change the other person. Don't try to change the other person.
That's where problems will come from.
That is where problems come from, because you feel like, oh, this person should be more this, they should be more this, they should improve here, they should do better, they should, you know, you're trying, you're this God that is just in the marriage out to kill the devil that is in the other person. Instead of looking at yourself, you're out looking at your spouse's mistakes.
Yes.
We had our fair share of struggling with that. You know, you just get married and, man, this person just does these very annoying things to you that, and you just can't wait to have them get rid of those habits so that, you know, you feel better. So get to know your love languages. Love languages are different. Yes. Get to know your temperaments. Are you a sanguine? Is the other person a phlegmatic? Chances are that those two personalities will clash. Get to know what are those differences. My husband likes acts of service as a love language. I cannot keep saying, let me give him gifts, let me give him gifts. You'll be speaking a different language that your spouse doesn't speak.
Yes, absolutely. You end up giving your spouse, you think you're trying, you love her, you're doing everything, and you know you go out there, you're buying her these gifts, this perfume, this what. I think that's not her love language.
She's not
what she wants is quality time. She wants you to be there.
To be there.
I remember, even as we are the same, I thought maybe my wife was so much into gifts, this. But that's not what she wanted. All she wanted was me to be there.
Yeah.
She wanted quality time to get time to share and discuss and talk about things. And just us being just there together was enough. That made her happy. So it's important
you might be wasting your money.
You may waste money, you may waste energy, but yet the other person's love language is totally different from what you're trying to do. And already my wife hit on it that love them, serve your spouse, don't serve you.
Yeah, you're there to serve.
Yeah, so do what she wants, not what you feel like is the best way to
love
the person. Yes.
So yeah, that is it. All these things do not happen in one day. They are to both the married and those who are preparing to be married.
Yes.
There are lessons that if you have not yet perfected it, it is okay. We are also working. I mean, we are working in progress. We wake up every day and have to remind ourselves that, you know, I'm in this marriage to serve this person. How am I serving him better? How is he serving? Okay, his question is, how am I serving her better? And that is it really. It's not that you arrive. There's no arrivalism. It's a journey and a work in progress. We hope these tips help you. Yeah, sure. And to make your marriages better and to go through the first years of marriage. Thank you for tuning in once again. Till next time.
Bye. We love you.